What's up, guys? YouTube, what's up? Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick follow-up video to my last one, which was, I don't really know. Oh, I think it was the one about China being the bear in the prophecy of the bear and the eagle shall clash. You know what? I think that's one of the prophecies of Fatima, if I'm correct. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it. But everyone used to think that the bear was Russia, and I think it's China. They think of China as the dragon, but I think of China as the panda bear. So, anyway, that was the last video. Anyway, since then, I told you on that video, towards the end, that you don't keep your cryptos on an exchange, right? That you have to keep it in a wallet. And since then, Cryptopia became insolvent. They're liquidating it. So the Cryptopia exchange is gone. And so anyone who held their cryptocurrency on there lost their cryptocurrency. And I had some cryptocurrency on there. I hadn't been using Cryptopia in a long time because it's one of those exchanges that kind of fell out of favor. But I left a little bit of crypto on there because I kind of forgot to transfer it off. So I took a little bit of a loss because most likely I'm not going to get any of that back. And but c'est la vie. Losing money is part of the deal. If you're not willing to lose money, you shouldn't invest, because investing involves risk. And what is risk? What is the chance I'm going to lose my money? That's what risk is. So if you can't deal with it, that's too bad. Also, we saw more tumbling in the stock market because apparently China and the U.S. fell through on their free trade agreement. Now, again, like I said, that is going to happen, but both China and the U.S. need the free trade agreement. However, China's going to need it more because ultimately all of their production and all of their sales are dependent on us. So if you don't buy anything from China, China doesn't make money, because China's really not good at producing things themselves. Throughout history, our immediate history, I should say, they've been stealing our intellectual property. So basically, everything they get is from America. China hasn't really developed anything of their own yet. And Japan was like that before. I think it was back in the 70s or 80s. You know, Japan they were copying everything that we did, and they weren't innovating. But Japan actually had some brains, so they started innovating and inventing their own technologies. Whereas China, still kind of, I'm not saying China's not innovative, but currently at the moment, they're not being innovative. They are stealing intellectual property. And that's to be expected from communists, because communists don't know how to make things themselves. They prefer the easy route. They prefer to redistribute wealth or knowledge. They redistribute it from you to themselves. That's basically what it is. And that's how they get people to join communism, because people become selfish and they want to get things for free. But they don't realize that communism, just because you join it, doesn't mean you're going to be able to benefit from it. A lot of times it's transferring from you as well. So it's a transfer of wealth from those who have to those who have not. And that, to me, is a really unfair system. Unless you really are stupid and you have nothing, like brains. You have no brains, you have no wealth, you have nothing, you have no family. Then I can understand if you want to be a thief, because being a thief doesn't require much brains. You just steal things and you can go sell it, and it didn't cost you anything unless you get caught. Then it costs you your freedom. And in the Middle East, that's the one thing about Sharia law I like. They'll chop your hands off if you steal something. And I hate thieves enough to support that kind of thing, where, I think thieves should have their hands chopped off. Because honestly, to me, a thief is a murderer. When they steal from other people, they're leading to their starvation and death. Because everybody else works hard to make money, to be able to pay their bills and feed their families. And when you steal money or steal value from them, you're stealing the food from their mouths, literally, and they can starve to death. So thieves, I hold in the same place as murderers. So anyway, the Cryptopia exchange is a thief at this point, because they are holding people's cryptos in limbo until the liquidators liquidate the exchange, and then they claim they're going to try to figure out what to do with the cryptos that customers hold, but currently they're in limbo. So in reality, I wouldn't expect to get my money back there, and I wouldn't expect, if you had put money into Cryptopia, that you're going to get your money back, because they owe money. And so when you owe money, they're going to end up liquidating it, most likely, or taking it for the stockholders who invested, or the stakeholders who invested in Cryptopia, the exchange itself, not in the cryptos. So there you have it. Let me see what else is going on. Well, Bitcoin and the altcoins are rising. They did a quick correction. I used that time to buy more, and boy, am I glad I did. And today, because Sunday usually you have cryptos crashing, I swapped from Litecoin after the rally this morning into some altcoins that are not as volatile, and they haven't gone up, but they're not stable coins. So, because I expect Sunday to be a little bit of a sell-off, it's possible. That's the history of, for the past year or two, that cryptos, once they sold off from the highs, the Sundays have been liquidation days. So I would expect that to happen again. And after the liquidation, I would, almost hit something in the road. Good thing I'm not holding the phone. But I would expect a little bit of liquidation on cryptos again, so that I could get back in cheaper. So it's up to you. I see it as a buying opportunity when they liquidate, if they liquidate. I don't look at technical analysis again, because technical analysis is historical price movements for the recent terms, and we really don't have that much historical data on cryptocurrencies. So honestly, technical analysis to me doesn't mean much. It shows you what's normally going on in the market. So you'll see normal buying and selling of traders and stuff, and every now and then you'll see interest increasing and prices increasing as people come in. But what about that big fat whale that's sitting on the side that wants to get in cryptocurrency, and he's not tied to the market and he hasn't said anything? You're not going to see what he's thinking or she's thinking, because they're not tied to the data until they actually put a committed investment in the crypto. So once they do decide to do that, though, they're a whale, so they'll move the market, and technical analysis won't tell you when they're going to do that. Most likely they'll do it on a cheap day, but you never know. Someone might jump in and decide to do it, because one of the exchanges that trades cryptocurrency futures, I think it was Bitfinex, had I think it was last week, they undid some short Bitcoin contracts. They recovered them, and so I think it was 11,000 contracts were recovered from the market, and typically that would drive the market higher if it were a short covering, like a squeeze, but they just unwound the position, so they bought it back. So it doesn't really drive up the markets at all, because you're not getting actual price movement that's causing the contract to change in value before they unwind it. They unwound it basically almost break-even point, so the value doesn't change the actual price of Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency they've written the futures on. So but that was a sign that people are less bearish, even though we had that correction. People are less bearish on cryptocurrencies, so we can expect more rallying to come. And I'm always cautious about that, because if the economy gets bad, again, the economy drives everything. Capitulation. Doesn't matter how good something is, you're going to get capitulation as people need to pay bills. And I think that might have been a little bit of the sell-off that we had so far in Bitcoin. It was some capitulation before the end of the month of May, so that people could pay their bills on the debts that they've acquired. So anyway, with that, like I said, I believe China and the United States are going to have to go back and enter a free trade agreement. And when they do that, I think the Federal Reserve will also lower interest rates. And we got the perfect recipe for a super crack of boom to come in. Because now you got people coming back and buying in the markets. You got China throwing in stimulus and the U.S. throwing in stimulus. It's perfect time for a one last boom before the entire thing busts. So, but in the meantime, again, people have to pay bills. So let me fix this. People have to pay bills. So ultimately, you're going to see sell-offs when their credit cards come due so that they have to pay it, or when their auto loan or student loan or any other type of loan comes due and they have to pay the loan off or pay for that month, the minimum payments. They will liquidate what has value in order to get the cash to be able to pay what they need to pay. And again, China is in debt to the U.S. They've taken out a lot of loans since they've developed. In the beginning, they were developing and making a lot of cash. But to expand their businesses, they took out a lot of loans, and a lot of that's denominated in U.S. dollars. So when the Fed raised interest rates, a lot of those loans are imploding as people can't afford to pay back with interest. So they're demanding the dollars to do so. So it makes the dollar rally. And as long as the Feds keep their interest rates steady and high for this atmosphere, you're going to have people demand dollars. You're going to have a squeeze in the dollar, or a squeeze up in the value of the dollar. But then in the long term, they'll just sacrifice the dollar to keep the economy afloat. And China will probably have the new reserve currency of the world. And that will be that. And then later on, we'll go to war, because China is going to be the new king on the block. And the U.S. was used to being king. And unless we roll over and let them do it, which I think we should, it's been enough time our country's been in the lead. Let China take it on. They want it. Let them have it and see what it's like trying to run the world. But the only problem is China uses the internet and a social networking credit rating system to keep people in line. You know, you can't get a loan if your social credit rating is low. They can basically shut you off. To me, that's the mark of the beast. So, I don't know, it's tough. Should we let China be the mark of the beast, be in control? Fix that again. I don't know. Honestly, it might be good for China. But then again, they're such evil people. I mean, we're seeing what happened in the U.S. when we got strong. We got corruption, and almost to the point of authoritarianism, where they're undermining lawful elections and trying to accuse people of stuff to make them lose political power, so that they can't determine a future of morals and good standing. So I don't know. Do you want China in that position also? Because they're already got moral issues. Because they're not Christian, they're not Muslim, they don't follow religion. They follow the religion of Karl Marx, which is your communist type religion. And so that is just steal from everybody and give it to the people who have not. And again, I already established in the beginning that thieves are like murderers. So if we want that kind of a culture ruling the world, then, well, there it is. Honestly, America should let China be in control, but we should also be in control too, a very close second, so that it keeps China moral. They have a hegemony that is offset and balanced by the political power of the United States, and maybe even a little bit of Russia too. So that way you keep the hegemon in control, but yet they're moral and they stay within bounds, rather than just running amok and causing problems for everybody. And usually you'll get that. You'll get a hegemony, and then you'll get allies joining them, and then the opposite, the enemies. And that balance of power in international relations is what keeps the world stable. And as long as you have that, it's a good world. But if you have a world that's going to be just completely run by China, doesn't matter what country, because China has gone in and invested money in certain undeveloped worlds, and then when the countries can't pay back China's investments, China takes over their infrastructure and their land, and basically the land becomes China's. And so they can actually make that country a colony of China and turn it into Chinese territory. Holy mackerel, that would be bad. So if you have China running the world that way, then that's a no-no. So I guess the US would have to balance it. So anyway, as a result of that potential in the future, I see a lot of good things for cryptocurrencies. We're in a bull market again. And technical analysis isn't going to tell you much unless you're a trader. You're not going to be able to tell when those whales are coming, but they're coming. So that's why I don't put much faith in technical analysis. I'm not really knocking it. I'm just saying it has its place. And if you're looking to get rich, that's not the place for it. If you're looking to just slowly get rich by buying off pieces and chunks through trading, then maybe that would be the case. You can use technical analysis, but again, I don't use that. I look at the fundamentals and I think long term, and I'd rather just hold, buy and hold, buy cheap, hold for the long term, and then when I see it's real high, then I'm out. That's the only kind of trading I would do. This daily trading, man, I did day trading. It's tough. You got to constantly watch and be observant. You don't always win. So to me, that's more like gambling. Your transactions get commissions, and they get fees and all that stuff. You're slowly getting eaten to death. Even if you make a profit, you have to make a pretty big profit to cover your fees and everything on the exchanges. So to me, trading is not worth it. Just buy it, hold it, and then get rid of it when it's massively high, or trade it for something else to avoid the taxes. All right, well, with that, that's my update. Love you guys, and I'm out. Peace.